What's going on, everyone? It's Jack here from Musicc. Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're talking about the Apple Homepod. So a bunch of videos have come out on this earlier in the week, but I just received mine, so I thought I'd do an unboxing and a first impressions video. In terms of what you get in the box, let's go over that quickly. You get the actual HomePod once you take off the plastic wrap. Underneath the HomePod, you get some paperwork, a how-to guide, and also an Apple sticker. So nothing major here. With Apple, you never really get a ton of accessories in the box, but it is pretty simple and it works and gets the job done. Let's talk about the actual HomePod though. Alright, so the HomePod is a good device, but it's also a confusing device because it tries to do two things. It tries to be a smart assistant and be a phenomenal speaker, and it does one of those things excellently, and then the other one of those things it kind of lacks in. So I want to tell you guys why it might not be the best purchase even though it sounds phenomenal. The design of the HomePod is actually a great start because Apple really excelled here. They made something that doesn't stand out too much, but it looks very classy. It has this nice fabric material that Apple has never used before that feels pretty nice in the hand, and not only is it on the main section of the HomePod, but it extends to the cable, which gives a really nice unified look. The HomePod is not that big. It's about the height of the iPhone 10, but it does pack a really heavy weight to it, which is kind of deceivingly heavy. So I don't think that this will necessarily tuck away in a room, but I think that it is so simple in the color choice and just the overall design that you could make it blend in and integrate with the room pretty well. Up top, you get this little panel which will help you with volume controls, and it also shows you this blurred out color for Siri, and I think it would have been nicer maybe to have some actual information on there like weather and news, kind of like the Echo Show. But with Apple, they're always going for simplicity and the least amount of information to keep the device looking very clean, and I think that the colors actually do achieve that. So this will not necessarily look like a giant smart thing in your room. I think it will blend in pretty nicely. So the thing with the HomePod though, as I already said, is the smart assistant versus sound quality. So sound quality is phenomenal. Apple really put a ton of time into making this sound good, not only in the speaker quality, but also making it sound good in whatever room it's in. The HomePod packs a ton of sensors to be able to sense how far away it is from the wall, what the sound waves do when they hit the wall, to perfect the sound and make it really sound good in every room, and it constantly is doing this to calibrate itself to any environment. I think that that's really impressive, and Apple definitely put a ton of time into trying to achieve that, and it definitely paid off. This is the best sounding smart speaker on the market, in my opinion, in this price range. It actually sounds a lot better than certain things that are priced even higher, so I was actually really impressed with the sound quality. It packs a ton of bass, but it still sounds pretty even. The midtones are there and the highs are there, as long as the low end, as I already said. But I think that this speaker actually sounds really phenomenal. I love listening to music on it. Calls on it actually sound pretty good as well. So the sound quality is not where my complaint is. I actually think that this is a really, really good sounding speaker. My issue is that it's a smart speaker that's kind of dumb. And I'm saying that because I think that although it has all that technology there to sound really great, Siri is kind of underutilized on it, and it's lacking a couple main things. The first thing that I would say it's lacking is ability to recognize different voices. So with speakers like the Google Home Max or the Google Home or the Amazon Echo, all those like smart devices are able to recognize the user's voice, so then they can tell if they should have the access and the ability to set reminders and send messages. With the HomePod, you don't have that ability, so when you're setting it up, you can pick if you want to be able to send personal requests. And if you live in a household with multiple people or an office, I would not turn that on, because that means anyone connected to the same Wi-Fi network will be able to send text messages and set reminders and read your text messages just by asking the speaker. That's not ideal. I would love to see some voice recognition, and Siri's capable of it because it's on the iPhone, so it's just something that's not here right now. And I think that definitely makes this a little bit less compelling. If they added that, that would definitely be a really good start here. The other thing that's kind of limiting about the HomePod is that unless you have Apple Music, it's really hard to use. Like, you can use AirPlay on Spotify, but controls are really limited, and I actually had some trouble connecting it with AirPlay on Spotify first couple of times. It just kept loading and loading and loading. And I think that that's definitely a downfall. You want convenience with this, and with the W1 chip in here, convenience is kind of what it's all about. When you have your phone out, you can just click connect and it connects seamlessly right away, and then you're able to ask it for Apple Music songs and stuff like that. But if you have Spotify or another music service, it's really not that simple, and the speaker is definitely very limiting in that sense. If you are an Apple Music user and you're looking for a speaker that sounds really great for your music, then this is definitely probably the speaker that you want to get, because it integrates really seamlessly. You can ask Siri to play something and it does it really easily. So it works really well with Apple Music. I have no complaints about that. You can raise the volume, skip tracks, ask it to play a certain song, but with any other provider, it's kind of a tough recommend as there's not really compatibility with it. I'm going to give you some examples now, so let me ask it a couple of questions. Hey Siri, who's the President of the United States? Alright, so in that case, this is a perfect example. It went to my phone. The HomePod doesn't always realize that you're trying to talk to it, and if your phone is nearby, it's gonna sometimes go to the Siri on your phone, which is kind of annoying and definitely something to note. I would ask it to play a song at times, and it would start playing it on my phone. I'd ask it a question, and it would start doing it on my phone. That's definitely something to note. I don't know if that can be changed in settings, but that was something that I noticed a couple of times. Let's try this again. Hey Siri, who's the President of the United States?
The answer I found is Donald Trump.
Hey Siri, who won the Super Bowl?
The NFL season is over. The Eagles outdid the Patriots in the Super Bowl by a score of 41-33 last Sunday.
Hey Siri, what's the weather in Los Angeles?
It's currently clear and 59 degrees in Los Angeles, California. Expect mostly clear skies starting tonight. Temperatures are heading down from 59 degrees to 55 tonight. My weather data is provided by the Weather Channel.
Alright, so you can see that it answers pretty simple questions, but we've already seen a comparison where people compare Siri's capabilities to Alexa's and Google's, and we've seen that Siri doesn't necessarily have the ability to answer all the questions that Google and Alexa can. So if you're looking for a really smart assistant, Siri's probably not where it's at, but it does answer those simple questions, and you can ask it to send text messages if you have personal requests on, and then of course you can ask it to play music. So in hopes we don't get a copyright strike, let's play something. Hey Siri, play Young, Dumb and Broke by Khalid.
Now playing Young, Dumb and Broke by Khalid.
Hey Siri, lower the volume. Hey Siri, raise the volume. Hey Siri, play another song by this artist.
Here's Keep Me by Khalid.
So you can see it sounds pretty good, like obviously. Hey Siri, lower the volume. Hey Siri, pause the song. This isn't going to give you like a full sound quality test. You're going to have to test it out in person because it's going through my microphone and then YouTube's processing, so it's not going to sound nearly as good as it sounds to me. But the voice controls, if you're using Apple Music, actually work really well. As you could see, I was able to skip the track, raise the volume, play another song by the artist. You could do a lot of things with this device if you're using Apple Music, but you won't find any of those controls, as I already mentioned, on Spotify. So conclusion for this, first impressions. The HomePod is a really good looking speaker which will blend in easily in your environment, and it also sounds phenomenal with a lot of high-end technology to make it continue to sound phenomenal, and with future updates it's going to get even better once you can add a second HomePod for stereo and stuff like that. This is going to be a great sounding product for a long time, and as I keep adding stuff it's going to get better and better. But in terms of the smart assistant, it's not ideal. It has a lot of limitations on it in terms of being able to recognize voices, using other music services. It's just not great. So this smart speaker, if I were just going to sum this up, I would say this smart speaker is kind of dumb. And I know that sounds like kind of weird, but I think that if you're going to decide to buy this or not to buy this, you have to know that this is really made for someone who is kind of locked into Apple's ecosystem completely. They want the speaker that is going to work with Apple Music, and they like Siri. That's good for you. But if you're a Spotify user, you might want to look at the Google Home Max or the Amazon Echo, which actually has capabilities with the iPhone. That might be your better call. If you want to make it work, you definitely can with Spotify and AirPlay, but just know that you're going to be losing out on some features that Apple Music users will have. That's kind of my initial thoughts on the HomePod. Definitely let me know what you want to see covered in the full review. Thank you guys all so much for watching this video. You should check out my other content right here and subscribe right here so you don't miss anything else that could be coming out in the future. Thank you guys all so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you guys hopefully on the next one. Bye!